Oh crap. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
There's the guy. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. So yeah, thanks a lot for doing this. This is I'm the ambassador for the entire skate community today.
Oh yeah, you skate?
I just appointed myself that. But yeah. No, yeah, it's great to see you again.
Hey, you too. Where were we? So Toronto, you said?
Yeah, I met you just after the show. I was the dork who gave you the little Hot Wheels BMW.
I love that thing.
Do you remember me giving you that thing?
Yeah, I do. That was great. Thank you.
Pin this to your spirit board and look, you ended up with one, right?
Here. Same with a piano. I just got a piano, so I'm doing all the things I always wanted to do in this pandemic. Just knocking it out.
Yeah, no, that is killer. Like, yeah, piano's like that's a great instrument. Like, have you ever played at all anything besides? You ever get into any other?
I took a lesson when I was 5, and I was just checked out. Special needs. I had a half a boner. I didn't know what I was doing, and I pretended to like it. And I just played with the metronome the whole time, and then got out of there.
Yeah. No, you'll love it. Like, especially just sitting down at it and forget. Like, I mean, we'll probably get lessons at some point, but you should just sit down and just maybe look up a few chords to play, because that's the whole fun thing about piano is the killer chords you can play, like these like elaborate, like 10-finger chords if you're a crazy person like they do, like classical dudes, but all the cool sounding jazzy ones, and it's the whole thing is because I play a bit of keys, but I'm a drummer actually. Is what I want to talk to you about too, is like I'm a big like meters guy and second line. Oh yeah, total funk dude. So yeah, you come from the heart of the birth of all the funk and jazz and everything, so it's killer. It's in your blood. That's why you should be. That's probably why you're drawn to wanting to play the piano. That's where the mastery of it all came from. The good stylings, for sure.
Maybe. It just looks so cool. The guy sitting there with the shades on. I always wanted to be able to do that, and I like how it looks effortless, but the sound is amazing. And yeah, guitar gets a little sappy and weird.
Yeah.
So
and
piano is great.
It hurts your freaking fingers too, because I play guitar before I even play drums, and it's one of the instruments I was like, yeah, it freaking kills your fingertips when you first start playing it, like the fretting hand. So you're like, drums is the one instrument where it doesn't hurt you. Piano is another one, but I don't know how dudes play like saxophone or trumpet where you're freaking. You ever try playing a dirty trumpet or any one of those? It kills your freaking face. It's impossible. I don't know.
I'm not a trumpet supporter. I don't want to blow into something, and I don't like the mouth. You get spit everywhere.
Yeah, there's the spit valve.
Spit valve. How weird is that?
Yeah, it is a weird one. But I was gonna ask you about New Orleans. Is your like family lineage from there, like for a bunch of generations, or did your parents move there? Or
it's a good question. My mom's mom is from Sicily, and they moved to New Orleans, so she was born there. And then my dad is from a town called Marksville, which is like this poor farm town in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think his parents are from there.
So
his dad died drunk driving.
Ooh.
Then they moved to Baton Rouge. He went to college, met my mom, they banged, shot a load and old her, and then I came out in New Orleans.
Cool.
So Louisiana through and through.
Yeah. You know what's cool about you though is what makes you an honorary almost, well, to me, because I'm Canadian, is Louisiana is like a Canadian, expats come down from Upper Canada, I guess it was. I don't even know Canadian history really. But so Acadian, Cajun, right? That's the whole connection there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know too much about it, but I've been hearing Acadian my whole life.
Yeah, because that's where Cajun came from. It's like a sort of bastardization of saying Acadian. Cajun,
Ah,
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You learn something dumb every day.
I like
But
it.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Actually, I was just going to preface saying this is an addendum. Like we have this podcast here, just me and my one buddy who's skate master of our town. He was one of those dudes who should have been pro,
Yeah.
wizard, and I learned everything I knew from him. And I'm a big slob, big fat guy now, but I was once a slimmer youth in my skate heyday, right? Which
I
was
blame
I
the
would say,
pandemic.
I blame it. I blame the pandemic.
Yeah.
You guys have skipped the dishes there, or I guess Uber Eats or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We got all that shit. It's
killing
bad
me,
news.
literally killing me. But but anyways, skating. Grew up skating since about 85 was the big one, like third wave skate boom after Back to the Future. A lot of people started skating.
Yes.
About that whole historic.
Gleaming the Cube, all that shit.
Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what year did you actually start skating? Like 90 something?
Yeah. Must have been
Like how old were you?
96, 95, 96, 97.
Yeah.
No way. No, it was older. It was older than that. I started high school in 2001 and I was slowing down on the skating by then. So I probably started started high school in 97. So I probably started 94,
Nice.
95. We'll say 95.
So you're on the tail end of like where I stopped because I had a bad ankle break trying to do a dirty tray or 360 kick flip, tray flip.
Yep.
Snapped my ankle, landed on top of my left foot, like coming down right on the top, and cranked it over. Broke the left ankle, goofy footed.
Oh.
And I was out because I was a drummer too, and I didn't want to bust my ankles, so I couldn't play drums anymore.
The kick.
Yeah, well, it's the hi-hat foot, but still, I didn't want to mess it up or anything like anymore because it was pretty.
You forget that there's a foot involved in drumming.
Oh yeah, both feet, both arms. It's all.
Wow.
That's what you'll learn too with piano is your feet are involved too because you got the dirty pedal.
I know.
The sustain pedal. And have you got the piano yet? No.
I'm sitting right next to it.
Oh,
I
nice.
do about an hour a day now, but that pedal, I haven't seen even the pedal yet. I don't know what the pedal does.
Hold that far right baby down. That's the sustain pedal where you can just press a note and it'll keep ringing out. And then you can add to it. So that's the way you figure out chords. You're like, it sounds like garbage. Let off it.
Yeah.
Press 2. Oh, that sounds nice. Press a third one. Ooh, I got that little augmented fourth going. I'm naming stuff you don't know yet.
Oh yeah, it's all out of my pay grade.
Yeah, you'll get some nice ones. You'll start learning the nice ones where it's like, ooh, that's that jazzy sounding cool. That's that diminished seventh or whatever. It's nerd talk so far.
Isn't that amazing how the brain, like, I see this box of keys and sounds and pedals. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I learned Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star today, nice. But it's amazing. You just keep going. The brain will progress. It's pretty amazing how humans are wired.
Yeah, I was going to relate that too to like skating. Like, remember when you're first trying to learn an ollie and you don't even understand what the hell's, you're like, what? That doesn't make sense. You're popping like a weirdo and it's all, but then there's the tempo to it. Because there's tempo to skating, same with like comedy. There's the tempo, timing, and it makes the hugest difference. But it's all a lot of skating too. I remember noticing it's like the sound, like you'll know, like there's like sort of I don't know. You can just tell like when you've got a nice snap your tail when you're gonna do.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I'm 37 now. I'm an old man. I'm late 30s here. I never thought I'd see the day, but I watch skate videos and it's almost like this ballet, like they do a great line and the cameraman's follow them. You hear the pop of the tail. They pick the right song. You hear the grind. You hear the flip, the scrape of the foot on the grip tape. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. And the way they cut them now to the song, like nicely, like they cut it to the beats and they land them right on the beats. And that's kind of
incredible.
There's a lot of amazing skating like now. It's unbelievable. Because like what was the first What was your first like skate video you saw where you're like, holy freak?
Boy, I had a stack of VHSs. Well, how old are you?
I'm born in '77. I'm 43 right now.
Oh, wow. You seem younger. You look younger.
That's
Maybe it's
acid.
the hat.
LSD.
Haha.
And when I was 15, that seems to stagnate your aging. No, I don't know, but that's what people think. No, no. But
Yeah. What was the question?
yeah. What was the first skate videos you were like, holy shit, hyped on?
The two
Plan
that
B.
blew my mind because I was a 411 guy.
Nice.
I got into that world late. Like I wasn't a Bones Brigade or any of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of shit.
right.
So nothing wrong with it. It's just that was before my time. But
Mm.
Mouse and
Nice.
Welcome to Hell
Ooh,
were like, holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Toy
yeah,
Machine was so that reminded me of my friends, just that kind of light each other on fire, kick each other in the
yeah.
balls, pieces of shit, drinking 40s. And then Mouse was like, this is Spike Jones. What the fuck? You
Yeah,
got that Charlie Chaplin thing that Eric Costin did,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
the music was cool, and the chocolate thing was
yeah.
good. I mean,
Guy
that blew my
Mariano.
mind.
Yeah, Guy Mariano's part in that skate too.
Oh,
Herbie Hancock, Watermelon Man.
yes,
That is like the
yes.
classic, just jazz, like in skate form. The guy like that. He's one of my favorite dudes because he was the guy who kind of changed the game for my age people. Where
Oh,
the
really?
first blind video came out, Video Days, with
Yeah,
Jason
that was
Lee
big.
and like and Mark Gonzalez, because it was like you knew Mark Gonzalez from kind of old school Vision days, but this was the first time you like really realized how well he was always sick for street. He like
Yeah,
invented kick flips and basically a lot of street stuff. Like, but when Gary Mariano appeared as this like 14-year-old kid, 13, 14-year-old, but skating like a grown up and with style.
yeah,
Little kids were sort of always kind of clunky, didn't really have a style. And I skated with kids who did have style, who were a couple years younger than me. So I knew that was a thing, but this is the first time in video where you see a little kid just ripping, skating lines and keeping up with the older guys like Jason Lee and Rudy Johnson, all these guys that were on the team. But also the thing was, Mark Gonzalez stole him and all those other guys from Powell, which was the whole thing at the time. The whole Steve Rocco, World Industries era. It's
yeah.
like where it was all of a sudden all these skaters were having their own companies instead of like George Powell, some old man, and Stacey Sproul was like
Right.
an old '70s guy that is trying to like he would make videos where they would like edit in them landing the tricks. It was all kind of movie magic he would do. So it was like
Yeah,
frowned upon. This was the first like video where like, hey, we can use our camcorder and friggin' make our own video. So that
totally.
was that was killer. And also the Plan B video,
Yeah, I
crazy.
hear a lot about that one. What was
Questionable is
that?
just first time you saw people do crazy rails like Pat Duffy
Aha.
mashing down like monstrous rails, and then it was still a few years before that was like the thing where you're saying with like Welcome to Hell and doing huge stair sets and huge rails and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
No, those videos were huge because I'm a movie douche. Like I like film. I went to film school and all that, so it was
Yeah, nice.
fun. Half it was like the sketches and how they shot it, and the little interview stuff and the interstitials. And
Yeah,
I just like that whole world, that kind of like slacker douche guy, uh, kind of becoming a piece of shit and fuck society and all that, graffiti and breaking bottles and all that, it was fun. So
yeah, totally.
I love all that shit, but I keep hearing about this Plan B and I've never seen it. So I got to go
Oh
back and
yeah,
watch
yeah.
that.
Watch that first one, Questionable. It's called, and it's for the time period. It was '91, I think that was, but it was mind blowing, and it was also the early kind of my era was like the big pants, small wheels era. They
Yes,
would call it,
yes.
right? Because my wheels were tiny at that point. Like my last set of wheels were like 34 or something. They ended
Oh
up
yeah, that's
they
too
wore down
small.
to that, but it was mental. But it was like Mike Carroll at his like sort of and Rick Howard and all those dudes like
Yes.
in Embarcadero was the place, in San Francisco, the where everyone skated that plaza where like the bricks, like they skated
Amazing
every
spot.
yeah. So that was like the mecca at the time, and all those dudes. It was just that was the era where you like, oh, I could almost be pro. You'd think to yourself because it wasn't yet the era you're talking about with the huge stair sets and rails. It was about approaching that, but it was a safer time to skate for me. I was a ledge and curb guy.
Right.
Like
right.
I wasn't going down huge stair sets. I did a little 5 or 3 maybe, but it was, yeah. Now it's like dudes are doing 20 sets on rails and 30.
I know.
It's crazy.
Crazy. It was definitely more technical back then, which I like. I like the technical, but then you add technical onto a rail, and I was shitting blood after that.
Yeah, now it's like they call it like the NAR tech, where it's huge tech down a huge set of stairs, like you're doing a tray flip down 20 stairs.
Right.
Or but also the thing was I'm gonna say about I forget what the hell. About that era. But when it became technical, the funny thing was in the 80s, like when I first started skating, you thought Rodney Mullen was a total dork. You're like, look at this gay friggin' guy on the
right
flipping around and on play doing pogo on the thing, flipping the board, and you're like, this is goofy. But then that became, he's like the god then of tech. Like he invented every single flip trick there is.
Yeah.
Basically. So he's now, it's like it changed in that period. We're like, but actually the turning point, if you've ever seen World Industries Rubbish Heap, ever heard of that?
Yes.
One? Yeah.
It's been a while, but yeah.
So there's a point in that where Jeremy Klein friggin' takes Rodney Mullen's board and snaps it in half, his freestyle board, and hands him a street board. And Rodney goes and starts riding the street board, and that's almost the turning point in street skating.
Whoa.
Like you're all of a sudden, wait a minute, you can flip a street board like that stuff?
Right.
Like, wait a second. And that literally like changed the game after that. It was like, Blind Video comes out after that. You know who's a friggin' master of the tray flip is, Jason Lee?
Yeah, is he?
Earl. Oh, he was like one of the proponent dude, like the preeminent originators of busting those in street.
Really?
Watch his street part. Yeah, watch Video Days. Jason Lee's street part. He rips. I think to this day he probably still busts a sick tray flip.
What?
Yeah, he was a wizard.
I thought he was a poser. I was like, oh, this guy's an actor. He's got a kick flip and a board slide here and there, but is he the real deal? Come on.
He rips. He can skate.
Okay.
He was sick bird skater. Transition skater, mini ramps more, but could skateboard brother. Okay. But no, he's a true master, that guy. Like, yeah, it's thought of like, it's funny now, people just know him as my name is Earl or whatever.
Right.
But it's funny when you see him, then it's like, the world knows freaking Jason Lee, but not for how they should know him.
Yeah. Well, if I were him, I'd put all that shit on my social media. Just like, hey, show the world. Look what I used to do. Fuck you.
It's weird how he doesn't really. Well, he still talked about it sometimes with people, but it's almost like, well, probably with you too. You're not going to start talking about skating because no one wants to really hear about it unless you skated or something, maybe. Or
but I wasn't pro. He was pro.
Yeah. I know, it's freaky. He had some sick. That's the board I always had as a youth. I'd get the Jason Lee freaking deck, if I could. Well, that's what I was I'm gonna ask you some questions I had written down here, guys. But
sure, whatever you got, lay it on me.
Yeah, like do you remember what your first kind of like good setup was at all? Like,
oh yeah, I loved a girl board. I don't know why.
Nice.
I loved girl. I was a skinny deck, bigger wheels guy. Some 45 Spitfires on there, Venture trucks, maybe an Indy, but they were a little heavy.
Yeah. Ventures were nice and light at the time. Like
nice and light. And yeah, I had the line and the grip tape on the backside, so I knew where the tail was. Nice. And Shorty's bearings or Shorty's hardware.
Yeah.
What was the bearings I liked?
Maybe some Swiss, or Bones, maybe, or Red.
Bones.
Yeah.
Bones. That was like a Christmas gift. Those were a little pricey.
Oh yeah. There's still some bearings, like those Swiss bearings are like $100 and something still. Like the crazy ones that they're like ceramic or something. I don't know.
Yeah, those were high end, baby. That was above my pay grade.
Yeah. Did your like parents get you stuff, or were they good like that, or did you have to save your shekels or just? I had a lot of hand-me-downs. That was the cool thing. If you had a nice skate crew, and I had sort of a couple of richer friends, you get a deck that they only barely skated because they're like, they asked their parents for a new one like within a couple of weeks or whatever, or a month. So I had sort of some good, because we were pretty broke. So I'd get one or two, I'd get 1 shoe a year maybe, or a summer. I'd be lucky if I had a couple decks for the summer because it's Canada too, so we have a limited season.
Ah, good point.
Unless parking garages, and maybe there's an indoor park. At one point, there was a little bit.
Yeah, my parents I bought my first one, which was at Toys R Us, and it was,
Oh,
it was plastic, everything. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I got made fun of. One guy, the bully at school, was a big skater, and he called me a poser, and it ruined my life and crushed me. And then my dad bought me an anti-hero deck because I liked the graphic. It was a big eagle. And he couldn't believe how expensive it was. It was like the whole thing was $150. He's like, this is insane. You're 11. Why am I spending this much money on you? But he bought it, and I kept that thing for 3 years because I didn't want to buy a new one. I didn't have any money.
Tail down to like a friggin'
yeah, exactly.
Down to a little nub.
You get on it, you feel it bend a little, but
yeah,
that's all we had. But yeah, hand-me-downs were big. Then our skate shop did like half off a used deck or whatever, so that was big.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's the huge thing that makes you progress is having a good equipment, because that's the thing with pros. Like the more to have a perfect setup the whole time, obviously you're gonna start getting really good. That's a key thing, which helps. Like if you identify someone as being good, it's like good when people back them and be like, okay, here, let's make sure you keep having a good deck so you keep progressing. Like a good skate shop is like that, and they help you. They're good friends where they're like, you're getting sick here, you need a new deck because you're ripping. You don't want to start losing your moves.
Yeah.
But
we built a ramp in my backyard. Like we went all in.
Yeah, that is you probably, I guess you missed did you ever hit any freaking launch ramps in your day? You missed that era.
My friend was big into that. He had the kicker because he could just like shoot over a garbage can. It was amazing, but I wasn't into the launch. I like the techno. I like the rails. I like the slide, the board slide, nose slide, grinding, box.
Yeah.
And I like stairs too, but I didn't like the idea of using a ramp to get higher. If I'm gonna get over that garbage can, I want to do it myself.
Yeah, freaking they're sketchy to go off of because I never was big on the launching. Yeah, freaking.
Yeah.
But so what was some of your go-to? Yeah, like you're saying rails. Like, were you a big rail? Like, I mean, big rails or just smaller? Like, were you a crazy big stair guy, big rail guy?
Not really. I could never do rails. I would pussy out. I tried once and like just board slid the last inch of it, and just to say I did it.
Yeah.
But you put down like a 1 foot or 1.5 foot off the ground, like yellow rail or a black rail. I mean, I love
like a flat bar kind of.
A flat bar, even a round bar. Give me a round bar. I'll grind that thing all day. And I like the round too because it was a little shaky, so you had to really secure yourself up there. But man, sliding the entire length of a lip slide on the whole rail there's nothing better.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, I was a big nose slide guy. Like I love to get a nice front side nose slider. Where going along there like because we only figured out waxing stuff like a bit later. Like it wasn't a thing it was almost frowned upon early on. Where just go faster. Was the thing. Right. Wax stuff until maybe more like about 92, 93, it became less frowned upon to soap up or wax up with candles the whole curve.
Oh,
before that, we were just like freaking mashing down on trying to grind stuff.
It's similar to stand-up in that way, where in the early days, you're trying to get up on a poetry show, a music night, you're doing ambush comedy in the back of a bar where everybody's trying to watch a hockey game. And it's the same with skating. You're skating on a big ledge that's full of pebbles and shells and shit. And you're like, this sucks, but I'm kind of having fun. But then you work your way up to comedy clubs and then skate parks or Embarcadero or whatever it is. Cause you can't get any better if you don't have good ledges and rails.
Yeah, no, I know. It was a thing too around here. It was like, I luckily lived next to this, like shopping plaza, like little strip mall thing where it had this sick kind of bench planter setup. So we had these killer planters to lip slide and nose slide and learn all that stuff. And they were good height too. They weren't too low where it's awkward and they were too high where you couldn't get on them. It was almost kind of like sort of mid-thigh height, so you get a good learn a good height of a nose slide or whatever.
Right.
But
there's something fun too about sliding backwards. Like I started doing backside lip slides towards the end of my run, and sliding backwards, looking over.
Yeah.
Best feeling.
Yeah, it is a good one. Freaking right. What was I going to say here about? I guess I just wanted to talk probably a bit. Oh, I want to do a little Nardwuar moment with you here, where I go one shell square.
Oh,
right. Thank you. Good night, sir.
Well done. That was heavy duty shit. If you were there, you were good.
Yeah,
that's a big set of stairs in the CBD, Central Business District. So like you were getting chased out in 2 seconds, so you had to nail that kickflip. I think it was like 8 stairs, then a 5 stair. I mean, that was heavy duty.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And here's another one for you. Ready for this? Was Parasite around when you were Parasite skate park, or maybe is that a more new thing?
We had Second Nature.
My day. I think Parasite, I think, is some outdoor maybe place.
Oh yeah, that's
it might be newer. Yeah. Okay, I've ruined everything now.
Great. It's ahead of my time or after my time?
After your.
That's all right. Hey, it's not you. I just maybe don't know.
Yeah, no. What was I gonna freaking talk about? Well, I guess let's talk a bit, because I know, like, yeah, every podcast you've been on this, like, they always obviously talk about comedy, but you might as well talk a little bit about comedy because it's why I know you.
Sure. Hey, lay it on me.
Oddly enough. So it's weird, like, Ottawa, Ontario, right?
You've heard of it.
Capital of Canada. And that's weirdly where Norm Macdonald, our favorite dear man,
the king,
Tom Green, is out of Ottawa as well. Another oddball. But that was the thing I was going to relate, is skateboarding and comedy almost has this like link. Do you ever notice? I don't know if your buddies, there's like sort of the people that skated sort of had a sense of humor always.
Yeah.
To me, like, true. It was like, and if like think of Big Brother magazine begat Jackass,
Exactly.
And it's all like there's this skate kind of underlying comedy of, because of it's almost like the gallows humor of doing death-defying stunts and then you're joking about stuff, right?
That's exactly right. It's nobodies and riffraffs getting together. So now you got, excuse crazy my gender pronoun, but you got 8 dudes hanging out all day, skating, taking a break, having a beer, busting each other's balls. So it's like it's like a team almost. It's like a baseball team, but we're all in jeans and t-shirts and chain wallets. So it's gonna happen. You're gonna get a board up the ass. You're gonna get a headlock. I mean, it's part of it, and that's half the reason I loved it, was that camaraderie and that just
it's like
hanging out with your buddies all day.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
I was saying, it's like being in the trenches, kind of.
Yeah, and
like, and like people who've skated, like you were saying it before, and something about how your shin is like a friggin' probably like a washboard,
Yes,
like that's the skate shin. Like I got that too, where it's just,
totally.
Only a skater knows what it feels like hitting the top of the foot with the axle of your truck, or
right. Yeah, you're right. It begats, good word. It begats comedy because it's just dudes hanging out, and we're teenagers too. So it's farts and snot and pissing on each other's foot.
Feet on fire when they sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Freaking because it's almost like the first like guy invented doing like wall rides was probably as like a joke, like, hey, I'm gonna ride my skateboard on the wall, and it's like it's all sort of clownish in a way, but dangerously death-defying.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like Evel Knievel, Jackass, all those guys had some level of humor to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Did you ever read Big Brother magazine, or was that kind of after? Did you get Big Brother at all?
I saw it. I never subscribe, but I had a few and saw it. I enjoyed it, and there was always like a chick in a bikini that was fun.
Yeah, there's just full on nudity. It was like at one point Hustler bought it, and it was just like, yeah, like Larry Flint published it like later.
I didn't know that.
He just died actually, Larry Flint.
Yeah, R.I.P.
But yeah, because friggin' when Big Brother came out, that was like the total juxtaposition to like Thrasher was kind of falling off, where it was like kind of thought of as like the more hesh, like kind of ramp locals, like older school skate magazine. It's cool now. It's become like, it's still like the
Staple.
top one, the staple, like kind of Bible of skating magazine, right? But at the time, Big Brother was kind of like the upstart, kind of like totally crude, like crazy kind of, like there's the whole one article about how to kill yourself, like it had all this ways. You had like tie a noose and freaking like, you know.
Can you imagine the canceling that would come down on Big Brother? I mean, it was like,
man,
how to know if your friend's gay and how to shit your mom's breakfast. It was like, it was just the crudest, lowbrow shit of all time, and hilarious, by the way. It'd be like a midget getting chased by tall people. Like, it was just crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, what is hesh? You said trend.
Well, no, I mean, like, they use that term in I think, you know, like Hessians. You ever heard that? Like, it's sort of like,
it's like hack.
It's more like the long-haired kind of like rocker kind of skater dude, like the real freaking burly,
got it,
freaking like badass kind of hardcore dudes or whatever. Like Anti-Hero kind of was like that kind of dudes, where it's like there's the, you know, there's kind of like the different,
I get it,
guys of in skating. Kind of there's the,
well, I had Trans World. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that was the more artsy, artistic.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that was killer. It was glossy, always
glossy. It felt a little more
like European,
had a little more production behind it.
Yeah, upscale and more.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it was like, because that was the thing back in the 80s. Thrasher was still on the shitty kind of newsprint paper mostly.
Right.
Yeah. So then Trans World was always the nice, glossy, bigger, like size a little bit, just more artistically done photography and stuff. And
yeah, photos were beautiful
for sure.
They were all on my wall too. I would just rip them out. My wall was just a collage of you know, Andrew Reynolds and Jamie Thomas and Jeff Rowley and all these guys. Arto Sari.
Yes. Yeah, I remember when I heard you talk about, or I think you mentioned something on a podcast. So that's when I knew you were a skater proper, when you drop some names like Arto Sari. Like, you gotta know. If you're just like, yeah, freaking Tony Hawk and Tony Hawk, and you know,
yeah, no, that's annoying. And also, I gotta say, I'm a guy in Louisiana. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Just looking, this is kind of pre-internet. So like looking at these photos of Huntington Beach and like the Oakland Bay Area, and I was like, whoa. And then like New York, the Brooklyn banks, you're like, whoa, what's it like to live in Brooklyn? Holy shit, San Francisco. That shit blew my mind as a kid.
Yeah, same. As like a freaking Canadian dork. We'd sometimes go to Toronto, like, because I live about an hour from Toronto. I live in about 15 minutes from Niagara Falls. I live in this place called St. Catharines, Ontario. The Niagara region. Our claim to fame is the drummer from Rush is from our city.
I know. I watched the documentary.
Oh, nice. I went to his high school, Lakeport.
Oh.
Same music room. So after he died, I became the best drummer from St. No,
nice.
No, but yeah, so when we get to, sometimes we go to Toronto, but it's like, yeah, it was like going to New York City kind of compared to, you know, Toronto is a little, I don't know if you ever thought that when you were there. It's like a New Yorkish kind of vibe to it.
Definitely. A lot of culture, different races and stuff. Yeah,
very multicultural. And just sort of that downtown grid of like, you know, high rises, and it sort of reminds me, because I was once in Manhattan as a child.
Quit bragging.
And guess where I went? And I don't know if it's still there. It's World Trade Center.
That's not there.
It's not there anymore. No, it's just, no. I was at the top of the World Trade Center. It's the one place we went in Manhattan. When I was a child, and
oh, that's fun.
I feel like I'm partially to blame that it's not there.
Yeah, I could see that.
No, freaking. But of all places, it's hilarious. We went to the observation deck you ever get to go up that thing when it was
No,
there?
I never did.
Oh man,
I wish
it
I
was
had.
crazy. That was a damn wild view from up there. You can see all the way, whatever the one direction's like, greenery over to the, I don't know what direction it would be, but it's a wild view up there. Yeah, it was cool. But
I've
yeah,
done the
one
Empire
time,
State, but that sounds great.
yeah. Okay, let's see what else we get here. I was going to talk about Norm Macdonald. Yeah, freaking
Yeah, the king.
the guys. Yeah, I still to this day, it's the greatest how people. Because I remember first seeing him as a kid when you're like, because I was like a Seinfeld guy. I was like, I don't know, sort of absurdist comedy in a way. Like we grew up watching, Monty Python as Canadians. You get a lot of British TV here and stuff, like the young ones, which is kind of lame watching it now, but it was kind of our influences. And then you see Norm Macdonald and you're like, this is the guy. Like you couldn't quite figure out what it was as a kid, why he was the best, but you just knew this guy. It's partly like his like I don't know, just the fact that he's got that like total kind of Canadian Ottawa accent is part of it, I think.
Yeah. Well,
but his comedy is just the greatest thing. I don't know.
I agree. And here's I study, I watch him and I go, why? Why is he so funny? What is so funny? Because I love it. And I'm like, what is it that I love? And I think I've narrowed it down. I've done this for hours, just staring at this guy. I've watched everything on YouTube. I know all the bits.
Yeah.
But first of all, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't give one, and everybody's like, I don't give a fuck. He actually doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I think that helps. Two, he's got a cadence, that Canadian Ottawa cadence, which he has almost turned into like this musical instrument. See, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. That whole thing. Yeah. And then, all right, so now you got those two. Plus, he's got this literal objective mind, which is so brilliant. He's so much smarter than anyone in the room, but he's playing dumb. So that's funny.
Yeah.
And then you think, I don't know what it is. It's almost like listening to Mozart and go, why do I like this? Why does this sound good? He's just mastered it. And he prepares for all those Lettermans and Cohen. He prepares. Like, it seems like he's just doing it. Like a lot of people think he's on drugs and he's high and he's drunk, but he's not. He's just that good. His instrument is that tuned. And dumb people don't get it. They don't see it, which I also love. Yeah,
that is the best when people just don't get him. And you're just like, okay, well, you're an idiot. And you don't.
I mean, he's on another level. He's like that chef who's using the foam on the dish. Like, foam, where'd you get foam?
The reductions.
Yeah.
Because he like, the best is some of those compilations on YouTube of him on Conan and Letterman and stuff, where he just, where there's the guest, it's the chick from like Melrose Place or whatever. He's like ripping on it.
Forget about it.
Yeah, or
it's over.
His show though too, that he was doing with Adam Egan, like his one with the most recent, not the most recent Netflix one, but the YouTube one.
Yeah.
Which is like you can't find now, which sucks.
Oh.
It's like gone from the friggin' internet for some reason. There's a couple of them. But
maybe Netflix was like, hey, if we're giving you a show, you gotta take those down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. But it's funny because it's like master other comedians are on there and he sort of leaves them speechless. Like Russell Brand's on there and he just can't even keep up with them too. It's like
master. He ain't no comedy master. But yeah, I mean, you got a samurai and a guy with a little butter knife.
Yeah. Or like when Gilbert Gottfried's on there, or just who else was on? I don't know. It is hilarious. Him and Letterman though is the best.
Yeah.
Because that was the most. I still weep when I see that last set on the last Letterman.
Oh, dude!
Like where
I saw him running that live.
You saw that one live?
I saw him running that at the Comedy Cellar. He flew to New York to go do Letterman, so he's like, "Let me run this set a few times," and it was so cool. First of all, seeing him, he's like my hero. He's just waiting in the wings. He's the nicest guy. I met him. I took a photo with him.
Yeah.
And just seeing that set, I was like, that's a killer set. Then to see it on Letterman in a suit. I mean, the whole thing was awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that gets me to, he followed me for a bit on Twitter because I on Twitter for a bit. They're, you know, yipping and a yapping with the best of them.
Yeah.
Like, I followed a bunch of people, and I think, but anyway, they got into this discussion, like in a thread of like a deep one about sort of like the meaning of life and all, like God, because he's sort of like a religious guy in a way. Like, he's like Christian, not like seriously a Bible thumper, but he's like a religious dude normally.
Oh yeah.
So I put some really poignant thing, and he's all like loved what I said and was like favored in it. And then next thing I know, he's like following me. So I DM'd him back and forth a bit and had some convos with him. It was crazy. Yeah, like it blew my friggin'.
What'd you talk about?
Just sort of comedy, like the state of, this was probably about 6 or 7 years ago now, I think.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's falling apart now completely. But yeah, we're just talking. I told him my favorite. Did you guys ever, when you were young, have dead baby jokes?
Of course.
Okay, so I got the best dead baby joke. I think it's the top one. Ready for it?
Hit me, baby.
Okay. What do you get when you slice a dead baby up with a razor blade? An erection. Thank you. Good night, folks. You can use that as your opener.
Did you write that?
No, that's like I found on the web years ago. But
that's a great joke.
It's the best. It's like you just can trump anyone with your dead baby joke with that one.
I mean, it's the same format and structure as what do you call a black pilot?
Late for, I don't know.
The punchline is just the N-word.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Which I would have said if we weren't on film, but yeah, it's
cancel culture.
Brilliant joke.
Yeah. No, I had that one I posted to you that I did write though, which was about everyone's freaking all up in arms about freaking, child molesters, whatever. Meanwhile, as soon as people have a new baby, they're taking naked pictures of like little Susie in the bathtub, little 5-year-old Benji on the beach, freaking 15-year-old Betty getting out of the shower, and what the.
That's great.
But
see, isn't it funny that people get upset about these jokes and they're like, "Dead baby, what are you crazy or the N-word?" And you're like, no, don't you see? A joke is just a way to make your brain twist, and it results in laughter. We don't mean these things, you idiots. It's a tool. It's a trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I damn it, friggin' give up. But
no,
crap. Because I'm a professional right now in the pandemic. What I do professionally is roll joints.
Oh, nice.
You friggin' kidding me? Friggin' joints. Oh boy. But anyways, that was joints going by. You can't even. I got hundreds of them here. But anyways,
nice.
It's legal here.
Oh, right. Yeah, you guys are killing it. How's the taxes there?
Pretty crap. Like, there's like goods and services tax, which is like or no, actually it's harmonized tax, they call it now, where it's for certain stuff you're taxed like it's like ends up being like 15% or something crazy on everything.
That's a lot.
But I mean, what is it, like different state, each state's different there, isn't it? Like state taxes or.
Yeah, New York will rape you because we got the 8% state, and then we got city tax on top of that. So yeah, New York's no good. LA's the worst, I think. That's why everyone's leaving.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that is a good scam. Like, you ever see back in the day in England where all the dudes like the Rolling Stones left and the Beatles or whatever, because they would tax entertainers and like rich people like something like 90% or something.
What?
Bizarre. Something crazy. That's why they all left in the 70s, like, and went to like France and Spain and all the.
Oh,
yeah, like the Rolling Stones went and did that Exile on Main Street.
Yeah.
Time period. That was because of that. It was like crazy. Yeah, they're freaking crazy.
I think that's their best album.
Yeah, that's a wicked one too. Yeah, that's a cool. Did you ever see that documentary where they're in the crazy mansion in this like French coast?
Yes.
And it's all, yeah, that's cool stuff.
That was great. Yeah, was that Crossfire Hurricane?
That was a different one after a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And
That
then
was
there's the old
Scorsese.
Cocksucker Blues. You ever see that bootleg kind of other one?
No, no.
Yeah, that's another one of theirs that was sort of frowned upon for a bit because, well, I guess the name of it, but it also shows Keith at one point getting friggin' fixed up by his girl, getting friggin' injecto into the old friggin' arm with a little bit of the H. There's the one scene where he's actually getting fixed.
Oh, that's fun.
You should read. You know, it's a good book. His book, Life, Keith Richards' book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally shines a different light on. Because I'm not a big Stones guy. I was a Beatles dork. You know, there's like, I like the Stones, but I was always more of a nerdly Beatles character. But
Well,
his
the Beatles
book,
were probably more important.
yeah, and I think more like crazily well-rounded musically, where they did their own thing. I mean, they did all kinds of music at the start, was more rock and rollish, but then they made their own genre basically.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. And also,
What do you think? Like with the White Album or beyond that?
I'm thinking like Sgt. Pepper, Revolver, even earlier, like Revolver to Sgt. Pepper. Those are my faves. I think those two, and like Abbey Road and stuff.
Abbey Road that's
White
probably top 5 albums of all time.
Yeah, that's a wild one. Yeah, because I'm like an audio engineer. I went to school for that garbage. Yeah. So that's a big one. All the whole history of their recording, like they almost like invented a lot of stuff that became the norm. They became the norm in studio recording, like the whole multi-track. The way everyone doubles up their vocals to like fatten up. Now that they invented kind of doing that automatic double tracking vocals, and a lot of other recording stuff was not invented by, but their one engineer was like this wizard guy who was like figured all that stuff out. And also like close miking, like instruments, like drums and stuff. Like they never used to put mics near drums. It was like frowned upon, but they almost invented doing that with. That's why the Beatles have that kind of certain drum sound that they, and also the way they would use like compressors and like equipment like that to get the certain sounds, whatever. But
gotta know the rules to break them, baby.
Yeah, it was funny too in the one in the studio, like the BBC or not BBC, the EMI studio. You'd get fined if you put mics too close to the drums. They'd like fine you. They were such nerds, you know. Like,
really?
$100 fine, you're gonna break that microphone.
Right. Man, you know your stuff. You're like a Reddit nerd, but nice.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. That's mean to say. No, I was gonna say, what was a wicked podcast that you're on? And I think I mentioned maybe the DMs to you one time or something. But Rick Glassman.
Yeah, that was fun.
Guy, he's like a gem of a dude where he's one of those dudes where he reminds me of sort of like, I've never, like, he isn't, a lot of his stand-up isn't anywhere to see really.
Yeah.
A little bit here, but he's one of those kind of absurdists in a way. Reminds me of like sort of like a Canadian sort of style comedy, or like that kind of normish thing where it's just weirdly like breaking the fourth. I don't know what you'd say about it. It's how he is like. He's
an oddball, which I like.
A savantish comedian type.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He does have a little normie, a little Andy Kaufman-y vibe. He's all about the big picture. Like, you step back, you're like, oh, we're doing this podcast in your dad's carpet store, and then your dad comes and sits in. He cuts dad in. It's fun. It's very it's that old school kind of like silly, absurdist, weirdo. It's weird for weird's sake, and it's funny because it's weird. He's an interesting guy. He's a thinker.
Yeah. He has this one new podcast he's doing with like Esther Babitsky there. Like little Esther. And it's hilarious because he just like rips on her. He's like he's sort of like, but like deadpan, where it's like if someone didn't know, he'd think he was actually being like mean to her or whatever. But
right,
hilarious. He's like ripping on her just about like, it's like, yeah, I know there's like a lot of stairs, probably quite a hike for someone of your size to get up. You're a little bit chubby of a girl, so he's always ripping on her like that she's fat and stuff.
Right. Wow, really?
No, it's obviously it's
That's
pretty funny
fun.
though.
Good for them.
Yeah, they're a good duo. Let's see here. What do we got? Do you have a hard out at all or something? Yeah, we're looking.
3-ish.
Okay, yeah. I want to maybe talk a little more skate. Oh, I
Yeah,
was
lay
going
it
to
on
ask
me.
you. Oh yeah, did you ever meet any of your pro idol dudes? Like, was there any skate demos that came through town ever and anything like that?
There was a couple, and they were awesome. I couldn't believe the skill level of these guys, but I went to a few, but I never thought to meet them. I didn't want to bother them. I was like, yeah, that's cool. The great. What are you gonna say? Like, hey, great kickflip, buddy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I watched them from afar. I loved it. I cheered them on, and then I couldn't wait to skate because I was so amped up.
yeah.
So no, I never met them. And then they would leave the park, wolf down like 8 tacos from Taco Bell, chug a beer, and drive off in a van.
Yeah. I had a similar experience, but I was always the dork. Well, as you can see by me getting you to freaking talk to me here, because I'd always try and meet, like, because I'm like, I remember to meet these people again. I'm gonna fucking meet them. So I met Jason Lee
Wow, that's a
at the
good one.
height of when he was my idol in '91. So I met Jason Lee, Mark Gonzalez, friggin' Christian Asoy. All these dudes were on this skate tour to Canada at one point. And I was
Wow.
this dork kid, like I'm like 12 or 13. And I go up to them, I'm yapping to him. I actually say to Jason Lee, I'm like, you're my idol. I said to him, I'm such a queer. But so
What do
I
you
said,
say?
he's like, hey, thanks, man. But anyway, so we end up going, me and my one buddy, they had like a rented, like, Sprinter van or whatever, white van, 12-seater thing. And they're all just chilling outside and they're asking us like where to get weed and stuff, actually. I'm like,
Where to get what?
where to get weed.
There
And like, I'm not sure
you
I live
go.
around here. This was in like London, Ontario or whatever. So, but end up at one point, I'm sitting in the van with my skate idols here, just chatting about skate. Yeah, I'm like sitting in the seat with them, like in their van. And just chatting to friggin', yeah, it was bizarre. And Mark Gonzalez, dude's the nicest dude ever. Like they're all the nicest dudes. No one was like a dick really to us or anything. But
Yeah. What's he doing now?
Gonzalez?
Yeah.
He's still around. He's in New York City, actually. He's like, you might see him around it if you're in that. I don't know what part of town he lives in, but he still skates like, LES Park, Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he skates there and places like that. But he's more he does his crazy art exhibits, and he's like he's a wizard, that guy still.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. And also, can I just say, I know you're in the Great White Way up there in the tundra.
Oh, yeah.
But when I was a kid, and probably more so with you, black people didn't skate really. We had one black friend who skated. He was like the weird white black guy. And now it's everywhere. Like I see black kids. It's cool.
Like the sickest dude. Like that was the cool thing always, like with like chocolate stuff and girl.
Yeah.
Because chocolate was literally like the total like Mexican and black dudes on the team, and like multicultural, multi-ethnic kind of team basically at that time when it first came out. But yeah, there's such wizard dudes that are like Tyshawn. Do you know Tyshawn Jones?
No.
He's like a sick New York kid who skater of the year like a couple years ago, Thrasher skater of the year. But he rips like he's a wizard.
All right.
He has an Adidas shoe model that's a really wicked one. I have a few pairs of those ones.
Oh, okay. I mean, these new guys. We got to talk about these new kids.
Let's talk about a couple new kids.
You see these X Games or whatever the hell you want to call it now. These competitions. The big trick they do is wouldn't even have been. That would have been a joke in like a 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like nobody could do that. And then not only can I not do it, if I could do it once, I'm not going to do it on the X Games.
Yeah.
The big trick is unbelievable.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. It seems like only about, because I remember when I had been out of skating for a bit in like the later 90s, and then X Games came out, but it was sort of awkward the first few years of how they had the skate competition. Was like the parks were like more like BMX kind of parks, so they were weirdly too big to skate like the way you'd want to. It was kind of weird. Like they didn't have it right, so it just seemed wrong. And dudes wouldn't flow properly. They'd have to like pick up their board, go run up a quarter pipe, get back on. Now it's like they make them more flowy where they could skate and keep going all the time and pumping around and stuff, right?
Right.
More like the way those like the nice vans like Bowl and whatever they got, all those ones.
Yes.
Or like, you know, crazy like Burnside in Portland. Like those are crazy. That's a whole other version of skating I never got into was transition stuff. You said you skated a bit of half pipe. But
I mean, I had a mini ramp, but
yeah,
that was just to stay loose and have fun in the backyard, you know, if you couldn't go anywhere. But
yeah,
I wasn't in love with the transit. It's cool. It just, it's like I said, I want to do the trick myself.
Crazy. Yeah, it's wild. And you have to have the means to learn it by having a park around to do it anyways. Yeah.
That too, exactly. It's like being a prop comic. I want to do it on my own. I don't want to have anything with me.
Yeah. I was going to say, the freaking new guys. You know, what you should watch is the new Death Wish video called Uncrossed. It's on Thrasher on YouTube now.
Okay,
that's like the pinnacle of the best skate video right now. I would say, like, I mean, there's been a few since this came out a few months ago now, but that's like a top-notch, like, sort of pinnacle of catching up on the sickest dudes like right now. Like that team is wild. That's like the offshoot of Baker, you know, Death Wish.
Oh yeah, those guys are nuts.
Yeah. So it's like dudes like Jamie Foy. I don't know if you're that guy. Jake Hayes is this Australian crazy dude that can pop over. There's one party he ollies over a friggin' dumpster, like a small dumpster, but a dumpster that's still like friggin' waist high, like it's nothing. But that team that's a sick team. But there's a lot of and also you should check out Illegal Civ. You ever heard of those dudes? Illegal Civilization. It's the guys that were in that mid-90s movie. A lot of those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that main little kid, he skates from, and he's not little anymore, and he rips. Like the main little kid. If you ever see that movie, yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, that was cool. Because it was it represented that era kind of fairly accurately.
Oh, dude, I loved it with the retard and the fags and all that. I mean, it was dead on. And the 40s and the baggy clothes. I loved it.
Yeah. It was best. And it sort of represented this whole thing with skating is like, doesn't matter if you like skated and were like into it, it didn't matter if you were a few years older or younger than, like, there was a whole crew of like, you know, I was like 14 skating with a couple kids that were like, this one kid was like 12 and he ripped. You know, but we still hung out with them, like didn't make a difference to us. Or, you know, and there's 18-year-old other kids who we hung out with too that ripped, you know. So it was all like, and it was all great.
Yeah.
Great times.
It was great. I mean, comedy's the same way. You meet another comic and you're like, oh, you get it. We're weirdos. You know, it's immediately understood that we're weirdos and we have the same passion. We're already 10 steps ahead in our friendship.
Yeah. It's freaking it's cool. Like the scene, I noticed just from an outsider point of view, it's cool that like who's buddies with who, and it's always like you can spring off of who. Like I know, like because like my favorite guys right now are like you and Joe. Your main man Joe.
Yeah.
Freaking Dan Soder. I love those guys. Like Bonfire guys. Like Ari Shafir, like I discovered all those dudes, like Ari from like Joe Rogan years ago.
Yeah.
And then, like it's cool that you guys are like pals though in like real life. It's like it's seemingly, I don't know if you're obviously.
No, I get it. It's fun. It's like seeing
but it's like a cool, like incestuous kind of mishmash of all the different. This guy's on this podcast and you're on their podcast, and it's wicked to see though because it's like oh nice, he's going to be on. Or I love the new Are You Garbage? It's like one of my favorite ones right now.
Great pod. They're blowing up. Yeah,
those guys are hilarious.
Can I say the New York side? I feel like is kicking ass. Like before, you know, it was D'Elia and Brennan Schaub and Theo Vaughn and Tom Segura. Segura and Burt still killing it, obviously, but we've got like the Hyenas now, or they just ended.
Yeah. I love those dudes.
You know, Garbage, Hyenas, Schultz is killing it. You know, we got Sam Morrill, we got the Bonfire, we got Joe List. So yeah, we're cooking over here.
Yeah, I love you and Sam's podcast is a great one.
Thank you.
Just chill in there.
Yeah, it's
sip
a lot
and
of booze.
chop it up about. Yeah, that's a good one. And friggin' yeah, you and Joe obviously is the best. It's like hilarious. Friggin' I love Joe's little vignettes he's been doing, the little shorts.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
the recent one where he's in the barber shop one.
Yes,
It's
that
not
was
like the
fun.
funniest scene is just the little subtle things that someone wouldn't maybe necessarily even catch. So when he's putting the friggin' apron thing over his head and it's in his mouth for a second. Like it's like the funniest crap ever.
That is a great catch. Yeah, that was an accident, but
He's
keep it
just
in.
like, it's so fast. Yeah, Joe. And same with like, yeah, like you guys are good comedic actors if you I realize it or not. Because I was just watching again the best where you and Joe go to like the Fordham University like
Oh,
museum.
that's old. Yeah,
That's just hilarious for you guys. And that chick played along well, which was good
yeah.
too. Yeah.
She
So
was
it
fun.
was the best when
She
you
was
guys
a real weirdo. That was all. That was just her being her. She was a psycho. But yeah, fun times.
Yeah. It's great stuff, man. Yeah, freaking where's Joe Mackey? I miss Joe Mackey and his freaking you see him around?
Yeah, he lived. I think he moved in with his folks. I think for the pandemic,
Yeah.
or wanted to be around them. At least. So he's in Pennsylvania. So I never see
Okay.
him, but we just did a gig in Pennsylvania together, and he's doing great. He's down in Florida doing gigs, so he's out there, but
Around
he's
good.
not very public. Like the rest of us are putting out
Yeah.
videos and shooting shit, and he doesn't do any of that.
Yeah, because I miss like that they had that podcast,
Yeah,
Keeping
keeping
Joe,
Joe.
which was great. It was like, you know, Sam and Phil Hanley and but it's gone, wiped from the internet. It was like one of my fave ones because I don't know what they get. I don't know why it's gone, but it was a great one.
Oh, weird. I'll ask him about that. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe they said some fucked up shit.
there might have been something in there that got a little dicey, but there was those great ones.
Yeah.
And friggin' what else in closing? Maybe we'll let you friggin' off the air here. We've had Mark Norman here for the full hour. That's what we like to say. Friggin'
yeah.
Okay, well. Oh, I guess I was gonna ask you just a odd question. Did you ever sleepwalk?
No, my brother did.
Okay.
I never did though. I was a bedwetter, so I was laying in my own urine. I wish I walked to the bathroom, but no, never.
Yeah, I did a bit of sleep pissing, I think, actually, as a child.
Ah.
Yeah, did you ever do that? That was one where I would, as a kid, get up and go and piss just in the corner of the room in my sleep.
I've done that drunk.
Okay,
but never,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, never like as a kid. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I peed the bed some too. I know I feel your woe with that one. Not like chronically, but enough where it's ridiculous, where it sucks, you know. You know what it's like, yeah. But also I used to piss myself as a kid sometimes because I was like shy and didn't want to like tell my dad I had to go to the bathroom. So one time I pissed in the back seat of the car in my pants, which was a good one.
Wow.
Yeah, that was nice. I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say you were 28.
But actually, I have a good pissing story, which was retarded of me. Is we went to this sort of theme park this one time in Toronto, this place called Ontario Place. You've probably seen it coming into Toronto. There's a big geodesic dome, you know?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that? On the water? That's the place, Ontario Place.
Okay.
And there's the Molson Amphitheater, like a concert place right by there anyways. But they had one of those log flumes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the log flume ride where you get wet going through it, right?
Yeah.
So we had been there before, and I remember the past I had gotten wet on it the other time we had gone there. So I was like, and I was sort of like, I didn't want to like bug my mom and say like I had to go to the washroom. So I just figured, hey, when I get on the log flume, I'll just piss myself. I'm gonna get wet and it'll be fine.
I like it.
Right? And this is when I'm like 7 or 8, so I sort of should have known better. So the fun thing is, go down the log flume, and I was in like the wrong seat, so I totally didn't get wet at all, except for my piss.
No.
So I just pissed myself for no reason. Freaking sunny summer's day. Yeah,
jump out of the log.
I think I eventually, luckily, got to wade into the lake, and sort of a little bit after I got there was like a beach part, so you could. And I was like, can I go into the water? Because it was summer at least.
There you go.
That was a mistake because then, but still, you're walking around all chafed and pissy, and you didn't rinse the smell off. And because I remember your story of you going at camp the one day after peeing and
Yes.
terrible.
Yes. Wow. You've heard them all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard of all. I've heard the chocolate milk in a jar. I've heard it all.
Wow.
You know, because I had similar things where it was always a spoon I had to keep track of after lunch. I'm the kid with a spoon in his pocket, and the teachers thought I was like a heroin addict or something.
Right.
No. But
hey, it builds character, goddammit. But all right, I got a skadoodle here.
Okay, man. It's been so. Hopefully this wasn't totally ridiculously wasted.
It's fun. You did your homework. You got good stories. We like the same shit.
Yeah,
all good.
And I'd like to, keep us up to date on your piano progress. And I'll maybe shoot you a couple videos of. There's a really wizard guy who's like the wizard piano guy on YouTube that would to know this like chords and different things that
what's his name?
I can't think of it offhand, but I'll try and maybe think of it. And I'll maybe send you a link or something. But he's this total, like nerd of piano mastery, but not on a level where it's just anyone can sort of understand what he's talking about. So
okay.
But there's also apps. Get a good app where it tells you chords and stuff. They're free your phone.
Good thinking.
Yeah. There's ones where it's just piano chord making app or whatever, and it's a wizard thing. You just like press keys, it'll tell you if it's a chord or not or whatever. And it's but it's been great talking to you, Mark.
Hey, you too.
And stay radical, I guess.
Stay black and
right here, Night Train Express, sister. A little bit of bum wine.
There you go. I love a good hooch. All right, take it easy, fatty.
Okay. Thank you,
Comedy.
Sir. Yeah, okay. Later. I guess I just end this now, right? Peace.
Bye.
Bye.